Today is a day of mismatches. I'm at a place which is known for its high rainfall, but I'm using an umbrella to cut down the sun. And this also happens to be a hill station, but the temperatures are soaring above 35 degrees Celsius. And the approach route to this place is full of twisty roads, superb roads in fact, which are good enough maybe for a coupe, but I'm stuck with a superb. And while I should have ideally gotten into the back seat of this kind of a car, the front seats were better, for they are ventilated. And believe me, cool seats on a sunny day are the next best thing to a comfortable bed after a sumptuous dinner. Let's talk about the car now, shall we? This then is the all-new Škoda Superb. Now, I'd already talked about its design in depth when I covered the car's launch or the global unveiling in Czechoslovakia last year, so we'll come to the design bits later. Now, the Superb has grown larger both inside and out, but from behind the wheel it doesn't feel so large, which is a good thing. Visibility all around is quite good. So don't let its large dimensions scare you. It is an easy daily driver as much as a grand tourer. It feels nimble at city and highway speeds and never makes its long length evident. Superb has always preferred ride quality over handling dynamics, and this new one is good at both. It doesn't get the adaptive suspension that you get on the European spec Superb. However, the McPherson strut up front and the multi-link rear leave little room for complaint. They have been tuned rather well for India, and even when we literally took the vehicle on a broken pathway, it had no problems whatsoever. The Superb is now based on the Volkswagen Group's MQB platform and is therefore quite a light car too, almost 60 kilos lighter than the outgoing model. And I may have cribbed about having to drive a saloon like this on such lovely winding roads, but 10 minutes behind the wheel and I was already enjoying the drive. The new Superb uses softer tires which are easier on the suspension as well as your back. The grip levels are quite amazing. Add to it the new Superb's wider track and you have a saloon that doesn't get wary of handling corners. It also comes with an intelligent electronic differential. I was impressed with it when I reviewed the Octavia RS, but the Superb's unit reacts faster to tightening curves and direction changes and makes the car more nimble as you push it harder. The new Superb continues with the same two engine options as the earlier one, 1.8 petrol and 2-litre diesel, that's the one I'm driving right now, and it has a higher output, 177 PS and 315 Newton meters of torque. And the torque is now dialed in much earlier as compared to the earlier Superb. It also has a nice spread through the mid-range. There's ample power and torque through the rev range, and the car is a delight to drive on the highway as well as in the city. Turbo lag is virtually non-existent. The LNK trim that I'm driving right now comes with 3 driving modes as well. You have the Eco, Normal and Sport. Now the Sport has a slightly aggressive throttle map, so it's only suited for highways. Around the city or around slower sections of the road, you're better off with the Eco or the Normal modes. The Normal is in fact the mode that I'm driving on most of the time. The diesel can only be had with a 6-speed DSG automatic, whereas the petrol can also be had with the choice of a manual. This particular automatic, it's smooth, but a little slow to downshift on its own. Now driving through these twisties, driving uphill especially, it refuses to downshift quite often despite giving full throttle input. That's a bit of a downer. Upshifts are quite quick in comparison to the downshifts, but this being the DSG, we have seen better from the Volkswagen Group and I was hoping this to be as quick. The 1.8-litre TSI petrol is an impressive mill too. It can be optioned with either a 7-speed DSG or a 6-speed manual transmission depending on the variant. It produces 180 PS between 4000 to 6200 RPM in the manual transmission variant, while the DSG-equipped petrol produces the same power at a higher range between 5100 RPM to 6200 RPM. Interestingly, the manual transmission model produces higher torque than the DSG-equipped Superb, and we had a go at that too. The power delivery is smooth and the engine builds up speed quite well. But all said and done, the Superb is primarily a chauffeur-driven car. Generally when I'm sitting in the back seat, this is how I show you my knee room. I can't do that because that's the amount of space that I have. I can't even reach the front seat. Now Superb has always been very spacious. The new one is larger in terms of its cabin space as well, both in terms of the leg space as well as the headroom. Now in hot temperature like this, what I'm really missing on is that B-pillar mounted AC vent that you had on the earlier Superb. This one only gets them in the center. Of course, it's a 3-zone climate control on the L&K trim, so I get to set my own temperature preference. But the AC is not as powerful as what you get in the front side of the cabin, which is a downer for a car that is primarily chauffeur driven. But in terms of space, in terms of equipment, it just nails it. In fact, there are so many features in this car that even the brochure needs 3 pages to list down all of them. Offered as standard are leather seats, adaptive bi-xenon headlamps, Parktronic sensors with a reverse camera, keyless entry and ignition, a 12-way adjustable driver's seat, a 6.5-inch touchscreen infotainment system, dual-zone climate control, and 2 Skoda umbrellas that sit inside the front doors. Choose the L&K trim and you will also get piano black inserts, ambient lighting with 3 color modes, fatigue detection, 3-zone climate control, and ventilated seats. You also get controls to adjust the front seat from the back, and a virtual pedal feature that lets one open the boot by simply swiping one's foot under the rear bumper. Unlike the earlier Superb, which had Skoda's trademark split boot opening functionality, this one is a complete liftback and has a lot of space inside. It always did, and now it has more. And as if that wasn't enough, you can go from a studio apartment to a luxury apartment by just dropping the seats. And when it's a Skoda, there are plenty of quirky features as well, like the cup holder at the front, which gets a rubber base so that it creates traction for your bottle, aiding easy opening of the lid. Or how about the mats, which have rubber on one side for when the shoes or the equipment is dirty, or the carpet side when it is all clean. Apart from the usuals, the other notable safety equipment includes 8 airbags, emergency braking assist, and a multi-collision braking system that kills the car motion in case of a severe accident by stalling the engine and automatically applying the necessary brake force. The design of the new Superb, big departure from the earlier car. Gone are all the curves, in comes a more edgy design. May look like a bigger Octavia in a passing glance, but look at the details and you will be absolutely amazed. One thing that I particularly like is this character line. It begins from the headlamps, becomes the bonnet line, and then continues to be a very prominent shoulder line, and is in a way the most characteristic of this design theme. The overhangs have been reduced too, and in a way make the Superb appear smaller than its outgoing sibling. It also makes the car look more balanced in its proportions. The sharper design comes from the Bohemian Crystalwork inspired theme that starts from the headlamps and ends in the taillights. The downside of the new design is that it looks so young and aggressive that it may not appeal anymore to the clientele that loved the Superb for its more stately appearance. The replacement of the cabin wood trim with more new age looking materials also adds to that effect. The upside though is that the new Superb now looks stunning enough to give the compact luxury cars a run for their money. The Superb is the flagship for Skoda, and it's also the priciest car that they have on offer, and it's still so popular. The reason is the acres of space it offers, the imposing style, the clever features, and because it is more sensible than the entry-level luxury compact sedans and crossovers in the same price bracket. And on all those counts, this new Superb takes the game to a whole new level.